What is up, Wretched Nation? Today we are driving into the sunset for some reason, because the sun just come out. Perfect time for the video. But we just did a video on the things we hate about this car. I'm in my 2011 Audi S4, and I think it's only right that we do a video on the reasons why we love this car. So let's get into it and let's talk about why I love this car. And yes, I do love this car more than I hate it, but there are things that aren't great. So if you want to watch that video, definitely check it out, and let's get into it. So first, the reason why I love this car is, in a broad statement, I'm going to say the drivetrain. And I'm going to say that because of the power it makes, the transmission it uses, and it being all-wheel drive. It doesn't make a crazy amount of power from the factory, but we'll get into that on another note. But the all-wheel drive and the transmission are insanely good for performance from the factory. The all-wheel drive in this car is rear-wheel biased, so the engine does go front to back, and you get more power to the rear as you do the front, because pretty much every all-wheel drive car is going to be biased one way or the other. You're going to get more power in one section or the other. This one, you're going to get more to the back. And the transmission, they do have a manual available, and while I do like manual cars, I believe this car is set up to be an automatic specifically, because of the DSG. It's a dual clutch transmission. And just real quick, what that means is you have two clutches, one for the odd gears and one for the even gears. So let's say you take off in first and this clutch is holding second. So if you take off in first, as soon as you shift, first lets go and second is already engaged, and that first clutch grabs third. So instead of releasing, shifting, grabbing, it's just releasing because it's already in the next gear. That's what's amazing. Now, there is some downsides to that transmission because of the service it needs and how quirky it can be, but that's for the other video. As far as performance is concerned and what you get out of the box, it's amazing, because it also comes from the factory with launch control that can be improved upon. But from the factory, when you get it off the lot, you can launch this car at a set RPM set, like a trans brake, or like if you were to have a manual and you were to rev it up and dump the clutch. This car can do that, which is really cool and great for the value if you buy the car used. Which is going to segue into our next reason why I love this car. You can get these cars super cheap compared to their MSRP if you buy them used with some miles on it. In my opinion, there's two ways to buy this car. You either buy this car brand new and trade it in before the warranty runs out, or you wait till after the warranty runs out and pick it up for probably 50% or less what the car was originally worth. I truly believe if you buy the car and you trade it in before the warranty's out, you are setting money on fire. If you buy the car used, you are taking a risk on what breaks and what doesn't, but you already are so far ahead as far as money in your pocket that it's okay. These cars are worth some money, or these cars are worth a really great value, unless you get one that needs a lot of work and it costs some money down the road. You might think otherwise. Let's get to the power of this car. There's another reason why I love this car is the performance and the tunability of it. That being said, there's not a lot of available avenues for people to go with this car. There's pretty much one path. Now, there are some people doing some radical stuff, but There's not a lot out there, but if you want to keep it simple, this car is great for that. From the factory, the car is good, but with a single tune, or we'll put it to you this way, from the factory, the car is in good shape. Makes decent power, it's kind of fast, but it can be improved upon. If you have a manual car with a simple ECU tune, you make 100 horsepower over factory. And you can do that with basically stock parts. Most people who do it, they're probably going to change the intake, change the exhaust. I don't believe you have to do any of that if you don't want to. But you can get 100 horsepower increase. That's 100 brake horsepower, like engine horsepower. But it's 100 horsepower increase to typically right at 400 engine horsepower in this car. Now, if you have an automatic, you can also do that, and it'll be great, but you can go a step further and get the transmission tuned. And that I highly recommend, because the transmission is going to shift more performance oriented. You're going to be able to adjust your launch control, which is key if you're ever racing the car, and it just shifts so much better and drives so much better. It is a little pricey to put everything together, but literally you can buy the car and then order a tune. There's a decent amount of companies out there doing it. Either one of them is going to be okay, but you can order the tune. It gets shipped in the mail. You plug it up to your car, usually with a laptop, download it, and in half an hour, usually the original downloads take a little bit of time, within half an hour your car is 100 horsepower more. That's insane. So the tunability of these cars out of the box are great. You definitely hit a wall pretty early on, but the car is awesome as far as performance is concerned. Another reason why I really love this car, and you have to love this, if you want a super overstated or outrageous car, or you want to be seen everywhere you go, then you may not appreciate this. But I love that this car is really sleeper-ish. It's in silver. I'm not the biggest fan of silver, but I bought it because it was cheap. I do want to wrap it, but a silver sedan with no extravagant body lines. This car does not stick out whatsoever. If you have an exhaust on it, it can be a little loud, but this car does not stick out at all. And people really don't understand or know the performance capabilities of an Audi. And this car can rip. So if you're into sleeper cars and you don't mind learning a lot and dealing with a little bit of the headache that these cars can be, this car can definitely surprise some people, especially out on the street. So I love this car for its sleeper-esque style, because I've always kind of liked sleepers. And segueing from the sleeper style, I will say the comfort in this car is really good. They do a really good job, even though it's a sports sedan. This car is very comfortable. The seats are comfortable. The suspension's not bad. It is a sports sedan, so the suspension's stiff. It doesn't bother me, but it could bother some people. But overall, the overall feel of this car is just really nice. I love driving it. I definitely enjoy it, and I want to do some more stuff to the car. I want to definitely make it look a little better, drive better, get faster. But overall, I just love what this car is about. If you deal with Audi or have ever thought about Audi, definitely comment down below. What do you think about them? Do you have a question? I'd love to answer your questions. We can start some dialogue down below in the comment section. Definitely like the video if you agreed with anything in this list or liked the video for whatever reason. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. We're working on pumping out way more content, so definitely subscribe to watch all that. And as always, keep it wretched.